Welcome back to GRC. Heaps of exciting things to talk about today. Number one is that Team Associated announced the release of the 6.3 kits, and I've pre-ordered one from Campbelltown Hobbies already. I haven't had a new car for about 18 months. My existing one's a 6.1. I missed 6.2. Kind of feel I'll probably do that every time. I'll upgrade every second time, which means probably a new car every 2 years or so. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So super excited. Because I pre-ordered it early, I should get one pretty quick. When I do, I'll do an unboxing and go through the build as well on the video. So there's a picture of it here. I'm just so excited about getting a new car. So one thing that I want to talk about today as well is going back to basics with my build. I'm a bit of a hop-up crazy guy, so I want to talk about that if you're getting into racing for the first time, some of the things that I did that weren't great and I would do different if I had another chance. I also want to talk about LiveRC website. When you go racing, you get all your stats and timings, and all the races are published live to a website and they're stored there forever. So it's a really good tool, and I want to talk about how I use it to benefit me when I'm analysing my races post the race. So that's really cool. That today as well. So the great news is I got my cars prepared for the racing this weekend. The bad news is it's been cancelled. It's been raining horrendously in Sydney, in a lot of Australia actually, for a while. And so they pushed it back. Now because of Easter, they had to push it back a month. So the King of the Hill's not till the 16th, the 18th of April. So I've got a full month to wait. Now, in between that, I'm going to be doing hopefully some on-road stuff. So my car is almost ready to go, so I'll be doing that, having a drink. And hopefully there'll be a ride race that I can get to in between as well. So that's the other option. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully I'll race between now and that month. If I don't, I'm going to try to at least get out to the track for a practice day, and I'll take some footage of that as well. So let's look at my build for starters. This is my car, my 6.1. Now when I started racing, I kind of from day one chased all the mad hop-ups, all the changes to the car. I did, pro setups. I deviated from the book, the core thing, pretty much immediately. I think it was a massive mistake. There's no way I was nowhere near ready to be doing that. And if I was starting again, I would go stock setup out of the book, make sure it's right for your track. So you might do some changes, but minimal. If you buy the D, the dirt one for Australia, you're pretty much right for Australian tracks. Now, someone told me some good advice early is that your tyre is pretty much like 80% of your setup. So getting the right tyre that everyone at the club uses is ideal. Proline hole shots are pretty much good all-round tyre for any Australian dirt track. And then you might get some bar tyres like a Positron or Electrons, but speak to people at your club. So that's the first thing. I think get the right tyres on, do the stock setup, and get good. Like seriously, once, I wouldn't, if I did it again, I'd wait till I got to A mains, kind of in the middle of A mains where I was trying to push the top, where I'd seriously start looking at setup, all those little fine things. But not me. So when I started, I went nuts. So in my car here, I've got all aluminium parts in the front. I've got aluminium caps for my shocks. I've got the MIP drivetrain and diff in this one. I've tried different, I shaved 5mm off my back arms, did a shorter chassis. I don't know, tried all lay back, lay down, stand up. So I think I did this. I think all that stuff's great, it's fine, but I think I did it way too early. So with this one, I've actually gone back to the stock setup in the book. Now I've kept all my hop-up parts that I've done, but things like the linkage spacers, they're all back to normal. The diff oils, the springs, so I've pretty much just gone back to the basic setup, and we'll see how that goes. I've got back to layback, which is probably the best. I think it's universally accepted to be the best transmission for Australian outdoor 1/10 tracks. So I'm doing that. So car's really good. I gave a bit of a quick burl yesterday just in the shed, and it was fine. Like I said, I really need to get out to the track. Now, one thing that I did, because for the King of the Hills and also the state titles, of course, things like weights, the weight of the car matters, because you've got to be all fully legal. So one of the things I had to do, for example, was put the blue cap on my RevTech engine and use the proper steel screws, because for some reason they're not legal without it. So I've done that. Other thing was the weight. So I've got just a standard kitchen weight that I use to weigh the car. So 1500 grams is the minimum, and I came in at 1580, which I was like, doesn't really worry me, but I've got no weights. Like I know people put in brass plates under the. I've got those, of course, under the battery, but I've got no weights, and it's 1580, so it's pretty much as heavy as I want to go. So I'll just run it as it is. I'm running a 30 tooth pinion on it with a 72 spur gear. So that's pretty good, I think, for the hills track. Yeah, it's pretty flowing and fast, and I think most of the good drivers have gone to 30. I've tried 28, 29 and 30, and I found 30 to be really, really good. It's a sweet spot. So car's done, looking good. This is my 6.1. So I guess it's on its last legs now. I'm going to be moving to the 6.3, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, can't wait to get it. But this has been a really good car. I mean, I've said it before in the previous video, if you want to get into car racing, you can do, like, this car, I'll probably sell it as a roller. It's got heaps of hop-ups, heaps of spare parts, and like, that's a good place to start with your car, particularly if you buy it from someone at the track or club you're in, because it should be set up for the track. So that's what I did with my 4-wheel drive. So yeah, anyway, that's a good way to get into it. You can get a cheaper car, still great car, and the 6.1 is a really good car to learn on. I found it to be quite amazing. All right, excellent. Now, enough about that. So yeah, next time I'll talk about this, I'll hopefully be at the track, but I will talk about my B74 in my next video. So this has got, like the book, it's got white springs front and back, 30 oil front and back. One thing I might look at during the race meeting, I could go to green springs at the back, but I'm going to try to stick to this. I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good setup. And I run something like a 22 ride height in the rear and 22 or 23 in the front. See how that goes. That's going to be my starting position. Other thing I did when I first started, my ESC. So I've got a great Hobbywing Z-Run XR10 Pro ESC, which is a really good ESC. And it comes with a little Wi-Fi module. I bought the Wi-Fi module on your phone. So I was mucking around with all the frequencies and all this kind of stuff. Didn't know what I was doing. So I reset that back to factory. So basically, I'll talk about that in another video. I do understand. I did a fair bit of research around those settings, but I'm going back to basics. I want to get good and just more consistent. And I want to show you one of my results, which is the next part of the video, which is looking at, I can't wait to get that car, looking at Hills Off-Road RC on LiveRC. So this is it here. So if you go to LiveRC, when you're racing a race, all the track times are normally broadcast live. When I say that all, if your club does it and Hills does it, and so does Ride, which is fantastic. This is an A-main I was in a little while ago. So you can see, where am I? I'm 7th. Cool. All right, so I qualified 8th and finished 7th. Now, there's a whole bunch of stats here. What I like doing so big thing for me on the far right-hand side is this consistency. 92 is pretty rubbish. I always think if I'm less than 95, I'm not happy. And I am actually got a good reputation, or I'm really good at being consistent. The thing is, I'm consistent and a little bit slow. So as I've tried to speed up, that's gone down. But I need to balance that consistency with my speed. So a couple of things here that I really like to see. So if I'm to analyse my race, right? So you see these stats, and you go, okay, I came 8th, blah, blah, blah. I did 11 laps, 5:02, so just over 12 lapper, etc. So it's 2.5 seconds off. So what does that mean? Now, if I go to top 3 consecutive, I always like to sort by that, forgetting about Scott, who actually didn't race this race. You can see I jump up a lot of spots here, 1, 2, I'm actually 4th. That means I was the 4th fastest with 3 consecutive laps, which lets me know I actually have got the speed, right? So if I maintain that across the whole 11 laps, I would have probably pushing for a podium in this race. Well, almost definitely would have been. So that tells me I was quick. Now, the next one is the average top 5, which obviously, as it says, if I click on that one, once again, I'm top 4. So across half the race, I was pretty much the 4th fastest driver in that race, which tells me that I must have had some really bad laps because I've ended up coming 8th. So if we go back to just doing it as position and then check my laps out, this is where I see right at the beginning, it's tale of two halves for me. 32 seconds, 34, 33, rubbish. Then 28, 27, 28, 28, 27, 29, 28. So that last 6 laps are all awesome. Now, if I would have done those first 3, like just even at 28s, I would have saved myself 6, 11, what is that? Almost like 15 seconds just by doing those 3 laps my average of the rest, like 28. Like 15 seconds, right? So you look back here, I would have been jumping up a bunch of places. Like I actually would have come fourth because I would have been past even Jeff Go with 15 seconds. Now, obviously, it's easy to say that, but these people at the top, like Matthew Cooper, Nathaniel, that's actually quite low for Nathaniel. He's really quick and normally really consistent. But those guys, that's what they do, right? They consistently put it together. Like, so you look at Chris here, 96, 95. That's what you actually should be aiming for. So this tells me that I've got the pace, which is really good. So it tells me that, okay, my setup's pretty good. I've got the pace. I know how to do it. I can string it together for 3 laps or 5 laps. I can't do it for 5. So I really need to just get more consistent. And it's even worth, if I turn those 3 laps into 29 second laps, so even laps where I'm taking it easy, I'm still going to save like 11 seconds, which is huge. Got to remember that. So I think it's important to do that. And then if you have one bad lap where you do get marshalled, then it won't stuff it up. But having 3 laps is just not good enough. So this is a very good tool. I go back to old tracks. I normally take note of my setup for each race. I keep a notebook on this is what I ran for this race. When I go back, I can have a look at it, and I often write notes around what the track was like. If you go in the same club all the time, it's often the same, but it's not always the same. So, Anyway, I thought that's it for today. I thought I'd just go through some of my setup thoughts on starting out, and also on LiveRC. So, I don't know, like, part of the reasons for these videos is to encourage people who have RC cars and do a bit of bashing with their mates or whatever to give racing a go. There's some brilliant clubs. I know in Sydney there's some great clubs. Both Ride and Hills are fantastic 1/10 scale clubs. Off-road. I haven't been on-road yet, but it's a popular club. I'm sure it'll be the same. I can't wait to do that. But yeah, so give it a go. And it's so much fun. And it's for me, my next goal when I get my 6.3 is not to... I'm not going to set targets like, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's crazy. I want to, with the reset of my 6.1 to factory settings, and with the new car, I'm going to go straight stock on the new car. I'm not going to do any setup changes on the new car until I'm well comfortable making A mains and in the middle pack, and then trying to sort of get my way up. So that's my thoughts on that one. So yep, I'm going to have a new car, and it's going to be awesome. Can't wait. So I'll let you know as soon as I do. Between next race, hopefully I have my on-road going, and I'll at least show a video of it working and talk about that a bit more. And then I'll go through my four-wheel drive. But like I said, no racing this weekend. It's a bit of a bummer, but great call by the community to make it early, because it was obvious that it was going to be a struggle to run. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the 16th of April. We've got a good month. I really should be able to get out for a practice day to Hills. I want to have a full, good session, 4, 5, 6 hours of just going through both cars, making sure everything's sweet, because I really want to nail and do well. And my goal for Hills, the king of the hills, is to actually just get my consistency up. I want to have my races 95%, and I'm not going to worry about where I'm coming or where I am. I'm just going to do that. The qualifying for that is top 3 consecutive. So that's 3 consecutive good laps as qualifying. But for the races, I really want to try to do that as well, regardless of what final I make. Awesome. Thanks for joining, guys. Please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the video, and subscribe as well. Getting awesome feedback as usual. It's really good. It's really encouraging, and I'm loving doing the videos. So chat to you soon. All right. Cheers.